times 12, JR?
You know I don't do the math. 2.
144.
42. 42. Secret of the
We
universe.
have sci-fi authors who are smart today.
Well, we got John over there. He can weaponize math for us. No takers? All right. Hey, all you crazy sci-fi and fantasy fans, it's time for your daily dose of shenanigans over here at the Blasters and Blades podcast. Just 3 nerdy veterans geeking out over our science fiction passions and fantastical fantasies. A place where magic is king, the sky is the limit, and space is the place. So without further ado, we're going to jump into the topic. But first, I want you to know that we had proof of life from Nick Garber yesterday. He's just being worked like a dog by the government agency that shall not be named, which he works for. But we promise he's alive, and we're going to try to get some episodes with him in the near future. And if not, we'll blame Cisca.
Of course we blame Cisca. I am guilty of something.
Absolutely. So we're here to talk with some nominees for the 2021 Dragon Awards. So first, I'm going to tell you what the Dragon Award is, in case you didn't listen to the same episode last year. So the Dragon Awards.
It's different people.
True. The Dragon Awards are a fan-voted award that recognizes outstanding achievement in science fiction and fantasy literature, comics, gaming, and filmed entertainment. They are given out annually at DragonCon in Atlanta, Georgia, and have been going strong since 2016. Yes, even during the pandemic, they gave them out virtually. The award process consists of 2 steps: a nomination step, which has just passed, where each work is nominated by voters, and then the nominations are tallied, and those that meet the cut are put into the finalist category. Congratulations, all of you. You made the cut. Woo!
Thank you.
And now you get to vote. But before we do that, let's tell you what the categories are. There are currently 15 categories available for voting. The best science fiction novel, best fantasy novel, including paranormal. They want you to know that. That's important. Best young adult or middle grade novel, best military science fiction or fantasy novel, best alternative history novel, best media tie-in novel, best horror novel, best comic book, best graphic novel. I say we make room for another category, put post-apoc back in, and combine comic and graphic novel, comic book graphic.
I agree.
Same thing. I'm going to get the hate mail, but it's okay.
I'm not in charge of it. Depends. Some people might love you.
That's true. So I know certain people that were upset when they couldn't get nominated for post-apoc anymore. But we've got the best sci-fi and fantasy.
Current news.
Best sci-fi and fantasy TV series, best science fiction or fantasy movie, best science fiction or fantasy PC or console game, best science fiction or fantasy mobile game, best science fiction or fantasy board game, and finally, last but not least, best science fiction or fantasy mobile miniatures, collectible card or role-playing game. Wow, that's a mouthful. So with the finalists recently nominated, we've grabbed a group of the 2021 nominees. This is the first panel we'll do. We're going to try to do some others if we can organize it. Obviously, we can't book everybody. So, I was going to say alphabetical order, but I didn't order them. So why don't we let the guests introduce themselves? So who are you and what are you nominated for? Basically, it's you for Reader's Digest. Jonathan Brazee, you're first.
My name is Jonathan Brazee. I'm a full-time writer. I'm a retired U.S. Marine Corps colonel, full-time writer now, living in Colorado Springs with my wife and 2.5-year-old twin girls.
And they are adorable.
I think so, too. I wasn't going to be the guy who's going to be always pulling out pictures or posting them on Facebook. That lasted about 5 minutes.
Yeah. No.
I'm nominated. I'm nominated with Sentence to War along with Jeff Chaney for the best military science fiction or fantasy novel.
All right, and next but not least, we have J.N. Chaney, who I'm told his mom calls Jeff.
J.N. Chaney, Jeff, if you want. I'm also nominated along with Jonathan Brazee for the same book, Sentence to War. We have 4 of those out now in the series. Book 5 is coming out in a week and a half, so right before the awards. And so far, this series has been a phenomenal ride. You know, Jonathan has poured his heart and soul into it, and I'm really proud of the work that we've done and to be nominated. This is the first time for me. I think it's the second time for Jonathan. Number two. Yeah.
What was that first nomination for?
That was for integration.
Oh, I thought it was weaponized math. That's what my joke was.
Weaponized math was for the Nebula. Weaponized math and Fire Ant were for the Nebula. integration was for the 2018.
So a
Best
little bit of
military and
podcast
science fiction novel.
etiquette. If the host is ever wrong, you're supposed to lie to him and tell him he's right. It's
Oh,
in the-
No.
You're right.
He never lied to JR about whether or not he's right. He's never right.
I'll win one day. But next we have Mr. Rick Partlow.
I'm Rick Partlow. I live in Central Florida for the time being. I'm a full-time writer. I write mostly military science fiction, a little bit space opera. I'm nominated for Direct Fire, which is in my Drop Trooper series, and book 8 in Drop Trooper is coming out September 14th, so not too far away. So I better finish it. So this is my first nomination. I'm going to be there. I'm really excited about that. So
I know you have some amazing panels.
I only got 2 that I know of, right?
Are any of his panels going to be filmed for the viewing audience?
The app is not as updated as the app appears to be.
Okay, that is good to know. Doc, are they going to be any of them going to be filmed this year?
Yes. I just don't know which ones yet.
Okay, so
Don't ask me. I'm not in charge of sci-fi.
check out the Dragon Con Facebook presence. Check out their website. They'll talk about stuff, and maybe we'll get answers. So next and last but not least, we have Mr. Christopher Rocchio. Did I pronounce it right this time?
You got it, man. Yeah, I'm Christopher Rocchio. I am also a full-time writer. I've been writing a series called Sun Eater for the last several years. And I was also, for 6 years, the junior editor at Baen Books. I quit that a couple months ago to write full-time. I am nominated also for Best Military Sci-Fi or Fantasy Novel for Demon in White, which is the 3rd in Sun Eater series. Number 2, Howling Dark, also got nomination. So it's kind of a repeat thing, which is really cool. That's a big honor.
You actually have the distinction of being the guest who's appeared on the podcast the most, Chris.
Oh, do I really? Oh, wow.
The fans wouldn't know that because they never aired because Cisca has crappy potato Wi-Fi. So we recorded one episode 9 times and it never aired. Not that I'm
You got something in your eye there, Cisca?
No, I'm just impressed that I could count to 9.
So, but that makes you famous or infamous. I'm not sure which.
I'll take it. That's almost better
You
than
know
the
what?
award.
He has also, I've known him the longest of everybody here.
Yeah, but did he get Hugh coffee when he was the junior editor?
No.
I didn't get anybody coffee. Now that I'm not working there, I can tell you that.
I knew him when he was the Baen intern.
Oh, okay.
So we're dark.
I know when I handed him a drink and said, "Here, it looks like you need this."
So this is the part where you prove your chops that you are in fact professional authors. So how were you informed of your nomination? Telegram, carrier pigeon, rock with a note tied around it, thrown through your window. John, how were you informed?
I got an email, but for somehow I missed it. And it wasn't until and I thought, well, I guess we didn't make it. And then the actual announcement came out and it was like, oh, wow. And I looked back and yeah, there was the email.
Check the spam filters, Jonathan.
The thing is, it wasn't even in my junk mail. It was in my regular inbox. And somehow I have dragon blindness.
Well, in your defense, you do have young kids, so you do get a pass until they're about 4.
Yeah, okay. I'll use them.
So we'll work for it. What about you, John?
He has twins, so that you might get extra time.
We'll make it 5. You get till 5 now.
Yeah.
You were asking how I found out?
Yeah.
Well, Jonathan and I were waiting with anticipation. And I think Rick found out first. I think before we did. He got an email. And that's what prompted me. And I was like, did they send the emails out yet? And I had heard like mixed things from different people. People that I kind of figured would get it and ended up getting it. But I think I had an email, or no, I had a Facebook message. That's what it was. Somebody sent me a Facebook message through my page, my author page. Because I guess they didn't have my email. My site was having issues, so they had to send it to me direct. But that's how I found it. And then I told Jonathan about it, and then he went through his email list and found it.
Okay, I expected something a little bit, more imaginative, but there's still time to save it. Rick, how did they tell you?
They sent it on a note with a very, very small dragon like the owls from Hogwarts. And it knocked on my window and told me.
Probably a fire lizard, because senior director of operations happens to be a huge Anne McCaffrey fan.
You mean the science fiction series?
They like fantasy novels?
So do you mean the science fiction series, Fern?
Yes, I mean the one involving genetic engineering.
So if I didn't have the go forth and vote sign, because voting matters for this episode, I would definitely put on there, Pern is a fantasy novel, change my mind as a little scroll bar, but you work out the day.
Genetic engineering.
Science fiction.
Dragons equals
Science
fantasy.
fiction.
Engineering. Lost.
Doesn't
Colony.
Chris Fox have dragons in space?
You hush.
He does.
Yeah.
See?
Yes, he does. All right, Chris, tell them they're wrong. Tell them that dragons equal fantasy.
No, Chris.
That's basically how I feel about it. But I also think it's all fantasy, right? Like all of it. I'm pretty sure Vulcans are just imaginary too. So, yeah.
Vulcans are just
20 millimeter cannons. The
Although
20 millimeter cannons, Chris, they're real.
that part might be real. Who knows? But as far as my email arrives by a cuneiform tablet, so I've actually had it for several thousand years. Which
You
was
said
quite a
more time
surprise.
to-
I didn't know what I had. I thought it was
You have more
some-
time to get the fans to vote for him. It's not fair.
Yeah, it was. I cheated. It was there was time travel involved, but no, I mean I got the damn email. Same as everybody else. My inbox, is probably a bit less cluttered, so I found it okay.
Jonathan, didn't they call you last year or last time you got nominated?
Yeah, for 2018, I got a call and they said, I had no idea that anybody had even read the book. And I got a call. They said, hey, your novel Integration. And I'm thinking this is, somebody trying to sell me on publication or, publicity and I'm about to say, no, I'm not interested. And they said, yeah, I'm calling. I'm Dave. I'm calling from Dragon Con. And we want to know if you'll accept your nomination for Best Military Science Fiction Fantasy Novel. And I'm just like, what? And
If they called me, I would have known to accept.
Yeah, that's cool. I've never gotten a phone call, Cisca.
so I just said,
I'm not in charge of that.
I know. I'm just saying.
well, I had no
Nobody
idea
wants
it
me
was
calling
even
people.
coming. So of course I said yes. And then they said, are you coming to Dragon Con? And I said, well, my wife's pregnant and I wasn't going to, I was just canceled. And I said, but I guess I'm coming now.
I want to know how they got your number.
Maybe when I did the pro thing, you have to sign up to be I was a pro for the Dragon Cons.
It would have been funny if he won and his wife had gone into labor right there on the stage with him accepting the award. That could be a story you could tell for generations. But
We have a lot of
Bali,
EMTs
I
at
got
Dragon Con.
that call, and that's what I thought it was. As I'm sitting there in Bali.
well, you can still lie and just make it up. It
You got
works.
called in Bali?
I was at 20 Books Bali.
How did they get your number in Bali?
What?
How did they call you in the hotel phone or did?
Oh no. That was I got the call about which I thought was my wife giving birth.
Oh, okay.
Fair enough. All right.
They really track you down. You can't get away if you try.
Okay, so what were your first reactions when you found out you got nominated this year? Chris, we'll start with you.
I was surprised. I wasn't expecting it at all, considering the book came out in the middle of last year's everything shut down. I wasn't sure that people had read it either. And it's always both years now. I've ended up in the category I think I belonged in. I ended up in military SF instead of just SF. So I was again surprised. Honored to be here, but I never really thought about the series as a military series. So a bit. Still a bit perplexed, but it's cool.
Well,
Glad to be
JR
here.
likes to say fans can just recategorize things however they want. So
I mean, I've seen some stuff in the media tie-in that weren't tied to any media property I'd heard of. They just had media in them. So, some of the lit RPG books have made it to media tie-in.
They're for imaginary games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
not
So,
Which can be the best kind.
so. Jeff, how did you react?
Oh, I was elated. I immediately, I think I called or messaged Jonathan, and I was like, "Holy shit!" So that made my week when I found that out. I've never been nominated for an award before, except for an Audie, but that's more for the narrator. So this was the first time a book of mine had been selected, and so we celebrated here. Me and my girlfriend went out for a steak, so that was a good day.
How do you have your steak?
Anytime you go out for a steak, man, it's a good day.
Absolutely. How do you take it cooked?
So, and Jonathan, you said that you kind of already answered with that. You went to go find your email, right?
Yeah, well, I was sure that that we didn't make it. In fact, I told Jeff that. I said, well, they'd be informing people by now. We haven't been informed. I called someone else I thought that might have made it, and he didn't make it. He hadn't been informed. And I had just sort of said, well, it would have been nice, but I'd already been let down, so to speak, and was going on my way. And all of a sudden, Jeff contacts me, and I'm like, what? And it was just like a total. So because I was so let down, I think the rise was so high, and I went running to my email to try to find it, and there it was.
So this is an important question before we move on to Rick and whoever else hasn't answered. Jeff,
Rick, I really want Rick's answer.
Hold on, I need to know how Jeff takes his steak. This is important.
What?
His fans might want to know how he takes.
How do you work your steak?
How I take my what?
Steak.
Oh, medium rare.
That's the only way to get it.
That's the only way to do it.
If you had said well done, they might have not voted for you.
Oh my God, no.
I like medium depending on how the restaurant cooks it, because sometimes they cook it a little bit light. So medium.
I get medium rare because a lot of times when it comes out, they can always throw it back on the grill for a minute or two, but they can't remove it. So and also just from cooking so much steak, when you take it off, it continues to cook. So if they're slow in the kitchen, it can cook a little longer than it should.
That's true.
Fair enough. So he likes his cow still mooing. Got it.
Yeah.
Hey, I like my cow still mooing. But Rick, your turn.
What was the question again?
How do you take your steak? How do you take your steak?
When I found out, I was really happy. I wasn't shocked because I don't know. I've been trying to get my fans to vote for me. Because I've never been nominated for any award, and this was like an opportunity. But I was really psyched. This is the first award that I've been nominated for. And I have like 44 books published, so it's pretty cool. I'm really, and I was already planning on being at the Dragon Awards, so I was like, picked a good one to attend.
How long before your wife's like, all right, I've heard about it enough. We're not talking about this anymore.
No, I haven't talked with her about it that much. She doesn't even read my books, so.
Oh yeah, I know how that is.
Mine doesn't either.
What?
She doesn't like science fiction.
Mine doesn't.
Yeah, that's a secret. That's the secret to a long-lasting relationship. Don't let her read your books. Find out how weird you are.
Doesn't like it. You're really going to be broken.
Maybe that is it. I don't know. I don't ask me for marital advice. You'll just end up divorced.
All right. So, what does this nomination then mean to you as an author? You could be as sappy as you want. I don't care if ninjas sneak up on you and start cutting onions, but is it going to be a marketing thing, or is it just a nice little trophy to throw on your bookshelf? What do you think it's going to mean to you? And we'll start with you first this time, Rick.
As an author, well, on a personal level, obviously, the nomination is a really great honor. It kind of means, on a writer level, not somebody trying to sell a book, but on a writer level, it means that you've managed to get enough people who care about your writing that they think about you when it's time for this kind of nomination, which is really, really touches me that there's that many people that care enough about it that when they look and they bring up the Dragon Awards and they look at military science fiction, they put my name down. So that was really cool. As a on the marketing side of writing, I mean, being nominated always helps, maybe, well, not always, but it might make the difference when somebody's looking at two different books and this one's been nominated for some kind of an award. Somebody might look at it a second time. But yeah, it's just all around great. I'm really thrilled and honored to have been nominated.
So have you gone forth and changed your book cover yet? 2021 Dragon Award nominee.
I have not changed the ones that I control, but I have some books that I have published with from Anthem Press with Scott Bartlett, and he has changed those to say Dragon Award finalist down at the bottom. So
nice. All right, so Chris, you get to be next.
Well, I'm mostly going to steal Rick's answer. The cool thing about the Dragon Right is that it's voted on by just regular people, right? Just regular readers. It's not a board of judges or experts or anything like that. And I think I said the same thing last time I was on the show. And it's just cool, like Rick said, that there are enough people who care about what it is you do to put your name down, which is awesome. So.
All right, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in this business now for 7 years, just writing full time, and I've been reading science fiction since I was 16. So
late reader.
Huh?
A late reader.
Oh yeah, don't get me started on my younger education. We weren't. There's no required reading. My friend graduated high school without knowing where periods went. So very bad. Yeah. So I got into reading because of my mom, and then into sci-fi as I got older and got nerdier, as you tend to do. And my first book I got into was Ender's Game, which I now have like 3 signed copies of. So that's cool. And to see, like when I first picked that book up, I picked it up because it said Nebula and Hugo winning book, and I was like, I don't know what these awards are because I was still new to the genre. But I picked that book up for that reason in a bookstore. And ever since then, I've always kind of like wondered what that would be like to be nominated for an award. And over the years, I just kind of assumed, because I'm an independent writer, that those were a little more out of reach. But with the Dragon Awards, there's no committee. Like Chris said, there's no board that's deciding whether you're worthy enough. It's all fan-based. And I think to get nominated in that way is even more encouraging than the alternatives. To know that enough people believe in you and like your stuff enough to actually buy it and support you, and then to put your name down when they think of this category, it's phenomenal. To see my name next to Rick's and Jonathan's and Chris, there's no higher honor, I would say.
And Walter John Williams, who's like one of my heroes.
Yeah.
I read Walter John Williams when I was back in the 80s when I was thinking about starting to write. He was one of the ones that inspired me to, and now I'm on the same list as him.
Yeah. And you've earned your spot. I mean, you said you've written 40-something books. I've read your writing. We're planning to work together later this year, and you're an exceptional writer. And I know Jonathan is too from working with him. So well earned, I'd say.
All right.
Thank you.
Last but not least, Jonathan, what does this mean to you?
I think this one, as I said, I've been up for the Nebula Award, and I was very happy about that, and I'm proud of that. But this is the Reader's Award. And this is not the industry. This is not who you know. This is not political. This is what the readers actually like. And there's enough of the readers out there that you really can't game it. You're not going to get slates. So that's what really makes it special. And it's like everyone else has said, the idea that a reader is actually reading your books and thinking enough of them. I was just at my high school reunion. It was the 45th, done 46 years later in Des Moines. And one of the spouses there came up to me and he said, "Hey, congratulations on the Dragon Award. I just nominated you." And it just blew me away that here's somebody I've never met before who was really excited to meet me and let me know that he just voted for the book. That really means a lot to me as a writer. And it's an affirmation that what I'm doing actually matters. And Rick was just talking about Walter John Walter John Williams, you know, when I was up for the Dragon Award, I was up against David Weber. And that was the first time I met him. And that was so cool for me, to someone that I've read all his books. And now all of a sudden I meet him, and then I get invited to show up for his renewal of his vows with his marriage. Sort of makes you feel like you've arrived. On the commercial side, I do have that in my USA Today on some of my books. I have it in my bio, but that's not the real thing that drives me for this. It's the affirmation from the readers.
Oh yeah, you get those emails.
It's been worth it.
You get those emails and everything, like Sentence to War. I mean, just that book alone, I've gotten over the last week since the nominations started coming in, tons of emails from readers who I didn't even know we had that many voters. And you know, just in our Facebook group and in our social circles, I'm getting emails from people I've never even talked to, and they're like, "Hey, I just want to let you know, like, I voted for your book." I mean, that's phenomenal. Just out of the blue, you know. And you know, you thank every one of them, but that's that kind of motivation that keeps you going, that keeps you motivated.
So I definitely think that's why you do it, right? You do it for the readers, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that keep you going. Since we didn't have this in the outline doc, so you're going to have to wait on question 8 for me. But Jeff and Jonathan, we'll get you first since you co-wrote together. Can you give the quick synopsis of what Sentence to War is, the book you're nominated for? And if you can grab the cover, I'll show it on the screen.
Jeff, you want to grab the cover?
I don't think I have it here behind me.
I have one.
Do you have it in your office?
All right. Well, while you're telling us what it is, I'll Google it and find it.
Yeah, I don't think I have it here.
I'm bad at this.
I found it.
I can write a novel, but it's hard for me to describe it. Basically, Jeff and I got together. We discussed writing something together, and I decided to give it a shot. I didn't think I was I didn't think I was a really good co-writing type person, but Jeff has really made it very easy, and I think we've worked well together. But basically, in some ways, it's your typical fish out of water. A guy gets forced into the military, but over the course, he finds himself. He becomes, as most of my Marine Corps books, there you go. For most of my Marine Corps books, there's the typical tropes of duty, honor, discipline, loyalty to your fellow Marines. And so those little tropes are going under, but I'm trying to make it in a different universe which has different obstacles in the way. And the first 3 books concern the first contact with an alien race. And since there's very little understanding of each other, very little difficulty at knowing who they are, what they're thinking about, it breaks down into war. And things aren't going well for humanity. And that's where our hero, Rev Pelletier, comes into the war. Yeah,
he's initially sentenced to war, as the title infers, because of a minor traffic violation. So
his government, they're not able to draft people because the citizens won't stand for it. So they get around it by you basically jaywalk, and they can sentence you. In his case, it was a traffic ticket.
I'd be screwed.
I know. We wanted to make it something that was like a little funny, but also relatable and accessible. Throughout the story, he receives upgrades, new equipment. He grows as a person, but he also grows as a soldier, and that sort of progression.
He grows as a Marine.
Grows as a Marine. Oh, right. Very different. Sorry. Former Air Force.
Yeah, you're lucky you didn't say airman.
Oh yeah. All right. Definitely different. But yes, thank you, Jonathan. I forget sometimes Jonathan's a former colonel in the Marines, so I have to be very picky about how I word things. But yeah, no, we've had a lot of fun with this story, and it's definitely grown as we've gone forward. Like the world building has expanded significantly, and Jonathan was here. When was that? Like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago.
Month and a half.
He was here, And we had dinner and hung out at the house and just like went over future story arcs and how we could grow the universe naturally and expand out in a way that would be really engaging and fun for readers. So I think we've got a really good outline for the series, but just the next few books are going to be, I think, a lot of fun. We're getting a lot of good early feedback on book 5, so that's nice.
Always a good thing. All right, Rick, what were you nominated for the title, and can you give us a synopsis?
The title is Direct Fire, and it is the 4th book in the Drop Trooper series. And ironically enough, the Drop Trooper series is about a guy who is sentenced to war. He's an orphan who was raised in the ruins of what used to be Tijuana before a nuclear war. And as a child, he goes to Trans Angeles, this is a big mega city where Los Angeles used to be. And he's raised by a series of foster homes until he becomes tired of being abused and goes out in the street and becomes a street criminal. And eventually he's arrested and given the choice of going into punitive hibernation or joining the Marine Corps because there's a war on and they need people. So he goes into the Marines, and just like Jonathan and Jeff's character, he grows, and he eventually goes to officer candidate school in the book before this. And in this book, it's the end of the war, and he's growing into his position as an officer and becoming more responsible and learning not just how to be a good Marine, because he'd already done that, but learning how to be a leader, which he'd had trouble with because he'd always been a loner. And this book is the culmination of that during the end part of the war against the Tawnee, which is basically a alien race of religious fanatics.
Okay, those sound like pleasant people. So, all right, I apologize that the go ahead.
I'm just giggling because I'm familiar also with Chris's, and there seems to be a theme in our books tonight.
So I do want to know, who else had punitive hibernation? Demolition Man, and we saw how that ended up. So,
well, in my universe, the punitive hibernation, the reason he didn't go for that is because nobody's ever come out of it, and they're all pretty much sure that the judges are just going to forget to unfreeze them and just leave them in there.
Oh, I thought maybe he just didn't want to learn to knit.
I love knitting.
All right. Last but
most feminine thing I do.
You threatened to stab me with those needles. I don't exactly know how feminine that is, but we'll move on.
It's not my fault that you're annoying.
All right. Chris, let's talk about your book. So what are you known for? What are you known
for? Demon in White is the 3rd book in my Sun Eater series, which is sort of a space opera, kind of in the tradition of Dune. And being book 3, it is a continuing story of Hadrian. Hadrian is a sort of a knight at this point. He is a nobleman. He ran away from home. He didn't want to be a priest. He wanted to be sort of a scientist and try to bring peace between humanity and these aliens, the Cielson, who have been threatening the Empire for hundreds of years. By book 3, he's been somewhat disabused of the notion that peace is possible. And while he was not sentenced to war, he is quite stuck in the middle of one. And in addition to trying to deal with these sort of nomadic kind of space, Huns, he is also... sorry, I was a classics guy, so Roman history analogies. But anyway, so in addition to that, he's also got to solve this mystery about this ancient extinct, species of aliens that he seems to have some sort of weird connection to. And he just keeps getting in deeper and deeper trouble as not only does he have to deal with all of these things, but also the Empire is starting to be less enchanted of him as he is building more and more of a reputation for himself. So he's got knives at his back as well as in front.
So fun fact, all of these books, we've discussed the first book in the series on this podcast. So if you go back through our catalog, you can find them all and listen to them talk for an hour about their book if you want to do that before we vote. But all right. So, Doc, next question is yours now that I've interrupted you.
Okay, and they all got in trouble with the law at some point in their books, which is the other reason why I was giggling.
Beats all you ever saw.
Because I'm not a grown-up.
There you go.
So obviously you guys are what?
I said I was telling you what the question number was, but you got it, so I shut myself up.
Yes, good boy. As all authors are, as authors, we're all readers as well. I'm really just a reader. What do you think the award means from a fan-centric point of view and as readers? Let's see.
I have the screen that has the little award, what it looks like. So
that's yes. Let's go ahead and I can't remember where we ended with Chris, so let's start with Chris.
Oh, works for me. Speaking, I guess, because I read some of the other books, right, that have been that are on the lists, right. It's fun to be able to try and give something back to writers who have given me, something to read, something to enjoy, and so it's just fun to sort of complete the loop, give back a little bit.
Good answer. Very altruistic. I approve.
And
well, thanks.
Rick, you look so serious. What's your answer?
I'm just wondering if I misunderstood the question. Are you asking how I look at it as a reader, or how readers will look at it?
Yeah. How do you look at it as a reader?
As a reader? Okay.
Obviously, you're a reader, right?
When I look at it from the reader's point of view, when I nominated people, because originally, when I got the link for the nomination, I voted also, and just the list of names that were up there, it was just it's just like a list of people that I've been reading for years and years, and they're kind of my literary heroes. So it is really cool as a reader to have some say in putting them up for an award, to give back, I guess, to the entertainment that they've given me throughout the decades.
Good answer.
Yeah.
I think that's the big takeaway there is you feel like you're contributing, like a lot of these more traditional awards are not selected by fans. Like maybe the fan vote gets you nominated, or you have to be a member of the organization, whatever it is. But anybody can vote in this. Any reader can vote. And I think that having that sort of, not power, but like that accessibility to this award also provides sort of a connection to it. It makes you feel like you're actually contributing to this person getting this award, like this person that you read the book, and I voted last year. I voted for, I think Jason Onspach was up for it. And I had actually read that book, just because he's a friend of mine, and I picked it up and I liked it a lot, and I thought he deserved that win. So having that sort of ability to contribute along with everyone else, to have your voice heard in this chorus of votes, I think that means something that a lot of the other awards just miss out on. They don't have that.
And Jonathan?
To me, the Dragon Awards are like the People's Choice Awards compared to the Golden Globes or the Oscars.
Yeah.
In order to vote for a Nebula, if you look at the awards that are up for, let's say, science fiction, you're really looking at the Nebulas, Hugos, and Dragons. In order to vote for the Nebula, you need to be a member of SIFWA. Mm-hmm. There's only 2,000 members of SIFWA. In order to vote for the Hugos, you need to have a Hugo membership, which is $450, and there's I think 4,000 to 7,000 at any given time. So these are gatekeepers. The Dragons are open to everyone, and you can be. I have readers who are bedridden, and they have KU, and this is their life, reading all the books on KU. And so for me, when I'm voting for the Dragon Award, I'm feeling I love the fact that it's open to everyone. And then when I vote, I'm sitting there, biting my fingernails, hoping that the ones that I voted for, maybe they're going to win. And when they do win, they don't always, but when they do win, I feel like, hey, that's my award too. I help that happen. And not take anything away against the Nebulas and the Hugos. But this is a different creature.
No, it's meant to be a different, and our goal is, I say our because if you're new to listening, I run fantasy literature at DragonCon, so I'm a little invested emotionally in anything dragon related, right? But that's what the goal is, though, is for the Dragon's always for fans by fans, and we love the Hugos, we love the Nebulas, but it is a different goal.
It is a different goal, and that's what makes it special.
And it's one of the things that's really I've loved is there are as many indie authors probably who've gotten awards as traditional publishers, or at least nominations and finalists made it to the finalists, where you don't always see as many indies do as well. And indies are a huge part of the reading. I know. So in fact, I think Chris is the only one who's traditionally published tonight. Well, you have probably one, Jonathan, but his is the only book that's traditionally published tonight.
Chris,
Yeah,
you
I'm
have
a
a few
hybrid,
indie
but
books.
I have never. All my nominations have been for indie books.
Okay.
Sorry, what was that, Jeff?
I said, don't you have a few indie published books as well?
Yeah, I've got a couple.
Yeah.
But I've got 5 anthologies with Bane, and now my 4th trad book's coming out with Daw, and then I've got 2 that I did independently.
So, but yeah, I mean, I think it's
Gotta mix
helped
it up.
indie authors definitely get ground. Just as an observation over the years since we started in 2016.
So, as someone who is not a finalist and hasn't been, I'll answer as just a reader, and I will say it is nice in a way to be able to influence. I grew up in the age where Fox has canceled all the good things that I liked.
Yeah.
So I know exactly how dangerous it is if you don't make your opinions known. Like, I like this series. If they don't finish it on whatever that series is, I'm going to be really upset. So this is a way, at least in the various things you can vote on, where you can tell them, we really like this. Please keep doing this thing. Right? And sometimes, that thing might not be the most lucrative, but if they know the fans are digging it through the award, then potentially that keeps a project that might have otherwise been shelved going. So if for no other reason that, it's a way to thwart the Fox News, Fox Entertainments of the world, from canceling your favorite thing. Firefly. Sorry.
Terra Nova.
Terra Nova too. That is
It's more recent than Firefly.
Yes, that one had dinosaurs too.
I've got more of a grudge against Sci-Fi for canceling Dark Matter.
Can they
or not continuing more Stargate.
Yeah.
They are, though. Stargate might be coming back.
They're rebooting it. That's what I've heard. Yeah.
I've heard that
I
a
don't
lot.
want them to
and
reboot it. I want them
nothing's
to continue it.
Oh, no, they were talking to Jonathan Shanks.
Oh, were they? Oh, that'd
Yeah.
be amazing. Yeah,
So-
give me that, please.
All right.
It might not happen, but
It
Yeah.
probably won't because I want it to. So, Dragon Awards. So, how do you think this award will change how we interact with science fiction? Do you think it's going to change the sorts of stories that we consume, or as authors, the kinds of stories we write? And we'll go with Chaney first. Jeff, you.
I don't think so. I think that there's so many authors on Amazon and Goodreads and all these other platforms that people write what they want and readers pick what they want. The awards, who gets what, it's probably not going to affect anything like overall. It's not dictating what I'm writing. I'm writing for the readers first and foremost and what they want and the market and also personally, like what I like.
Clearly, they want criminals who go to war.
Clearly,
yes, exactly.
at least 2021. That's what they
We're
want.
getting the felon vote,
Yeah.
except all of us are.
But Jonathan and I didn't sit down and say, like, let's write an award-winning, novel that's gonna. Yeah, no, we didn't think about that. We thought about like, what are our readers gonna want, and we built it around that. And like, how are we gonna tell the best story possible? So I don't think that fundamentally is gonna change. And it hasn't in 60, 70 years of writing sci-fi or however long it's been, 80, 90. I don't think
Over 100 since Frankenstein.
There you go. I don't think people inherently write to win awards. And I think when they do, they probably don't make a lot of money. And I think if you put the readers first, you can potentially get both. Because now with the Dragon Awards, I think that reflects the market. Whereas before, people aren't necessarily, like, awards don't necessarily correlate to the common reader, like what they're looking for.
Okay, Jonathan, can you top that?
I certainly can't top it. I could just agree with it.
Okay.
What they said.
All right, Rick, what they said is your answer. All right. So, Chris, this is your chance to shine. You can be the most wise and senior citizen. Well, no, that doesn't work. The wisest man in the room.
I think I'm the senior citizen here.
I think you can be the wise millennial, maybe?
No,
Oh,
those
you might actually be
exist.
the youngest person on the panel.
You are the baby.
I think the only thing that I could say, right, is that the Dragon's been going for what is this, 6 years now? So I think any change that it was going to make in sort of the award giving culture of the genres has probably happened, right? And I think that what it did was sort of widen the playing field a little bit and give particularly we talked about like this is a great way for indie writers to get nominated for things, whereas before like maybe you get a Nebula, right? Hugo's pretty difficult, right? But I think that this has opened up the field to a lot of writers who might not have been getting those nods from the field as it was before. The Dragon Award sort of helped broaden those things out. So to the extent that it's democratized things, I think it's already done that, which is great, So.
All right, that is a very wise answer. You get the nod on this one question. So if we're keeping score at home, take a shot. I don't know.
Oh yeah, well after the thing.
Yeah. After you vote. All right, Doc, back to you.
No, we were supposed to take shots.
No, I thought Rick was. No, Rick already said what they said. Okay. So,
I was kind of joking.
do you have an answer? I mean, I'm not going to.
Well, it is close to what Jeff was saying. I mean, it's nice that it does tell you to some extent what your fans are paying closest attention to. So you're going to want to feed that need, because maybe you make money off a whole bunch of different things, but you don't know what is the passion of your fans unless they tell you. And a lot of fans don't feel comfortable contacting authors directly. So something like this tells you, yeah, they like this book, they like this series, they like this kind of novel. So,
and if you're listening at home and you don't vote, or you're not confident your book is going to win, but you still want to influence the readers to write the series that you're digging, you don't have to wait till DragonCon comes around every year and vote. You can just join their newsletter and then reply to the newsletter and say, hey, I really like book whatever, please write the next one. That helps too. You can email them. This is the modern age, just in case you didn't know.
Yeah,
book reviews, right?
Well, we live in the social media age, so a lot of the interactions that and now Jonathan has seen from since we've been co-writing. I have a very active Facebook group, and people come in there all the time. Like, we get new people in every day, and they're constantly like talking about what they'd like to see, and they'll theorize on different series, and they'll say what they're reading. They'll make book recommendations. Rick's books have come up in there, and it's great. It's the best kind of interaction system that you could hope for. It's better than email. It's better than anything else because you can react in real time. That sort of back and forth, that helps me a lot with coming up with new ideas and deciding where to go next, and deciding if I have 3 different concepts in front of me, which one I should do, because that's what the people, in the group or in email, like wherever I'm getting it from, like that's where they're interested, in going next. So, since Jonathan and I have been working together, he's been in there, every day talking to people just about. Yeah. So that's a great resource.
Reaching out to me with direct messaging. Yeah. Telling me what they think, what they want to see, what they want to, where we should go. Why don't we write about this character?
Yeah,
what's wrong with you? Why aren't you writing about my favorite character?
We put a lot of time and energy into building that community up, and we don't allow politics or anything.
You allow a lot of cats.
A lot of cats, a lot of pet memes and stuff, a lot of sci-fi talk, and it's great. A lot of people only come onto social media to be in that in that group and talk about stuff. So I recommend, if you're a reader and you want to talk to authors directly, reach out on social media, have a conversation.
It's funny. I get messages from people who are like in Hungary or in Australia, and Poland. People telling me they read my books. It's really cool. Just knowing they have that far of a reach.
Yeah, it is.
I had a someone asked me, why don't I put a cook in one of my books, because he had been a cook in the British Army, and I did, and I named it after him, and the character actually lived through. I mean, he made it through quite a few books as an important character. And
our cooks were very murderous in 1-1. So yeah, I can see that working.
Well, what happened with this guy though is he fell off my newsletter list, and I tried to contact him and ask him why, and I found out that he just passed away.
Oh,
and then 3 weeks later, I get an email from his son of the eulogy that the vicar had given, and it was 6 pages long. The last page was all about me, how he was helping this famous science fiction writer, and how he would get up. He was bedridden, so he'd get up in the morning, he'd open up his laptop to see if I'd replied to his last email and stuff. And it just really hit me hard. And I happened to be going to London for 20 books, and it was from about 3 hours outside of London. So his family came down to see me so they could take a picture with his picture on a chair and the family. And I gave him a signed copy of the book or his namesake. And that right there hit me more than anything else in my writing career, that what we do matters. You know, we sit here joking around as writers and this and that, and you know, the bad review we got, how funny that is, and all this kind of stuff. But there are people out there who pay attention to every word we write, and it means something to them. It means something to their life. And to me, that was my single best experience in my writing career.
Yeah, there's been people who come to me like saying that they appreciated that Cam Alvarez from Drop Trooper was, you know, from Mexico, you know, that was a Mexican American, or that like one of the characters in another book is suffering from PTSD, and that speaks to them because they did too. You know,
I've gotten those.
Yeah, it can be surprising, like that when you write these characters, you don't even think about it. Like I wrote about an albino child in Renegade Star, this little girl who had white hair and everything, and she was referred to as albino. And I get an email from like the head of some organization that specialized in that, you know, just albino kids. And he had 2 children, one of which was albino and one was blind. And we had 2 characters in the books, and one was blind and one was albino. And he's like, not the blind one, reads the books to the one who can't, and they really relate to these characters that you created. And I was like blown away. That was the first time anyone had ever reached out to me about that stuff. And now I've gotten, just countless messages from people and about how they see themselves in these characters. And it is very humbling when you read those things.
I had a run-in of sorts kind of like that this summer with one of your books, the Messenger series.
Yeah.
There was a kid in a special needs camp with the same name as Dash's name.
Oh,
and
okay.
He doesn't like his name.
Yeah.
And I went, no, it's really cool.
Now it's cool.
And so his mom went and got the books.
Oh my God.
And he really likes his name much better now.
That is so cool. Thank you for telling me that. I'm going to go tell Terry right after this. That is so awesome.
So I told Terry as it was happening because I was on the phone with them right now.
Oh, okay.
You'd think you know from The Incredibles that's cool.
Yeah. That's amazing. Thank you for telling me that.
Dash is the character's nickname. So it's really Noonan is the name of the character. So his mom's really into science, and she goes, maybe it was too hard a name for a kid. Too much to carry.
Oh,
Chris,
that's amazing.
Chris, what were you going to say?
I wasn't. I was just listening.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No.
Sometimes you have that face that says you're going to say something.
Oh, no. I was misleading.
It's very intense.
or he had chili for dinner. Whatever. All right. So, we've talked about a little bit, and you mentioned this in your last, well, not your last, but one of your answers, Chris, that if the change was going to happen to the writing side of things, it would have already. So let's talk about the categories themselves. Do you think we're going to see an expansion of the categories? And if so, what do you think those might be? For instance, I could see them adding something for best cover art, because I think the quality of indie cover art alone has grown dramatically since early 2011 range to now. I've seen better quality even from trad pub covers. As just one example. So do you see an expansion of categories, and if so, which one? We'll go with you, Chris, first, since I mentioned your name.
I would like to see something for shorter fiction. Maybe that's novellas, or maybe that's short stories. Just because, especially the short story was such an important, sort of medium for sci-fi for so long, that not having a spot for it seems weird to me. And we, maybe that'll help make them a little bit more like what they used to be again, too, in terms of the role they played in helping to build, careers for new writers and things like that. And also just as an art form in and of themselves. So I'd like to see that.
I'm pretty passionate about short content as well. We have a whole series where we just interview people about their short stories, short interviews on short stories, because I just that's where I started reading sci-fi was the shorts content. So that was a very good answer, and you get bonus points. Drink another shot, people, if you're still sober and have a liver. Rick, what about you?
I'm not familiar with the inner workings of the dragons. Cisca probably be more likely to know than me. I mean, if you ask me if I'd like them to, yeah, I would like short story category as well. Probably one for each for science fiction and fantasy. I wouldn't mind seeing military science fiction decoupled from fantasy. It just seems like an odd combination.
Well, it's military fantasy and military science fiction.
I know. I'd like to see. I'd like to see those split apart, because they're really kind of different in a lot of ways.
Okay.
Post-apocalyptic should definitely come back. Whoever got rid of it, slap them.
It was Doc. She got rid of it.
Post-apoc is still a very, very popular category.
Oh yeah.
The fans, they love it. I don't see why it's not there anymore.
Okay. What about you? What do you think, Jonathan?
I kind of agree with what Chris and Rick said. I think post-apocalyptic is, I think, the fourth largest subgenre within science fiction, so I think it should be there. If alternate history, and I'm nothing wrong about alternate history, but if that's there, then I definitely think we should have post-apoc. I also like the idea of shorter fiction, whether we go all the way down to, short story, novelette, and novella. I don't know. It would be great, but even just a shorter fiction category for works that are less. I think 70,000 is the limit for the dragons now. And I think what you said about we have a lot of stuff in the dragons for comic books and things like that. Well, why not book covers? I love going when I go to Worldcon and all of those. I love going through the art exhibits and just all I'm thinking about is, okay, wow, I've seen that as a book cover, or this would be a great book cover. So I just find that fascinating.
Okay, Jeff.
Man, I'd like to see a few things added. Like Rick said, categories, dystopian, post-apocalyptic seems desperately needed. I think you could also get away with something like alien invasion, possibly, or even just doing a broad sweeping contemporary science fiction where it takes place in the modern day, like techno thrillers and that sort of thing, separating that from, things that are set in space, in the distant future, so like First Contact or whatever. But aside from cover art, maybe an audiobook category for both genres, something like that. I don't know if you guys do anything for that, Doc.
Not yet, but they always are listening. Who knows? So.
They're listening to audiobooks. Oh wow!
It's disturbed. When even the Audible exec looks at you and goes, "That's a lot of books. Are you sure?" You've been reading a lot of audiobooks.
Yeah, I also wouldn't mind seeing, like humor or like just a few more subcategories, because alternate history it seems much more niche than like military sci-fi, but those are the two subcategories right now. So maybe like a few more to like flatten that out might help a little bit. Like cyberpunk, as an example, that's picked up steam recently.
I'm not sure if cyberpunk isn't more like just like a part of different genres now instead of its own genre.
I think you have cyberpunk elements for sure. In our last Reaper series, for example, there's cyberpunk elements to it, but then there's just flat out like Cyberpunk 2077. I mean, that's very much its own thing. So I don't know how big that genre is, but I'd like to see more of that because that brings more attention to those specific genres, and that would put eyes on certain books that may not otherwise get noticed.
I have been telling them for years I want an anthology category.
That would be cool too. Yeah.
Good idea.
So, because I think it's going to be much easier to get a significant attraction for an entire anthology than a specific one. And anthologies are huge. There's at least 3 or 4 anthologies, it seems, coming out every couple months that I'm like, okay, I need this one and I need that one. And then thank you for this one.
There's a lot of big names in the anthologies nowadays too.
Yeah. I blame Chris.
The other one I'm surprised they don't. Yeah, we blame Chris for that. That they don't have would be maybe like fantasy and sci-fi romance, because that is a distinct genre of the romance subset that would fit in with dragons, and they've got a large audience.
Really, really large audience.
Oh yeah.
Although how do you PG and
the
family
second biggest subgenre in science fiction is romance.
I just don't know how you keep that family friendly. So
well,
I put it at 10 o'clock at night.
I went to the RWA convention, and I didn't know there were that many categories in romance. There are a lot. But then there are a lot of readers too.
Is there an urban fantasy category anywhere in the Dragon Awards, or is
urban
that would be included in the paranormal?
Okay,
which is part of
the there's an urban fantasy track. The director's super sweet and nice. She's like your favorite librarian ever.
Yeah, I think more fantasy categories would be cool too.
I always am game for that.
Yeah,
I'm biased.
She's addicted. You would think as the fantasy literature track director, she would know that Pern and Dragons was fantasy.
You would think that as a person who doesn't understand science, you'd stop trying to decide what is and isn't science.
She pulls her "I trump you because I'm an actual scientist" card out. Okay. Question 12 is you, Doc.
So what do you think you'll do if you win and make the final? Why do you try and make me read questions you write? What do you think you'll do if you actually win? Chris, you've been so silent. You get to go first.
Well,
that's what happens. I used to teach.
Be surprised, I guess. I expect to be beaten, if not by one of you guys, by Larry Correa, certainly. So,
Larry Correa.
I'm expecting Larry to steamroll me, so I will be flabbergasted if I win. But then I will flex on Larry when I see him in Salt Lake. So
he's my favorite midget.
Who, me or
no, Larry?
Is he short?
No, Larry's like 6'4".
Oh, okay.
Larry is,
taller than that.
Larry's average sized in my family.
I called him that to his face when I met him, though. I told him he was my favorite midget. He just patted me on the head. He said, "Oh, you little people."
That sounds like Larry. Oh man, but no, I expect to be steamrolled. So I will be surprised.
So if you're a fan of his, go out and vote for him. So he's surprised. This is in your hands. The power, it's yours.
Well, the good part, Chris, is that you'll never know how much he got beaten by. They don't share that, do they? So.
It was by one vote.
No, we don't.
Yeah, it might have been by one vote. Larry's like 1,000 and you're 999. You don't.
That's what I'll tell myself.
That's the cope.
As I go catch up for all the shots I've not.
Almost did it.
Yeah.
You were this close.
So sad.
Who gets to answer next, Doc?
Jonathan does.
I will jump up and down, scream and shout, run around, bump into people, grab Jeff, give him a big old kiss right in front.
We did it.
See, this is how you have the sharp classes restarting.
Okay, I think Jeff will be happy enough. He'll consent.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So will you go wild and crazy and do a medium rare or like super rare steak this time?
Oh no, yeah, no. We'd definitely go out and celebrate. I'd buy Jonathan a beer, probably a steak too, and Yeah. No, I mean, I can't even imagine it. Like the honor of winning that, that would be career defining. So I think I would be humbled that entire night and probably just in awe.
So, Rick, how about you?
Well, my first thought would be that they made a mistake in counting.
Me too.
Yeah.
I know Larry's fan base is just like huge, and when he tells people to buy somebody's book, that person makes like tens of thousands of dollars in a week. So I'm pretty sure that they've got that sewn up. But if by some miracle I won, I would probably just like sit there stunned, and then that night I would buy a lobster, just splurge, get the most expensive meal I could.
Oh, I think whoever wins has to buy the other guys
that's what I
a
heard.
drink. Yeah.
I will definitely do that for those of you that are there.
All right, so this is the most important question of the evening. All right, so in your head, all right, you've won the award. Where will you display it? Jeff, you get to go first this time.
Right there.
Oh, the bookshelf behind you. That's
where I put all my trophies, man. I got my little Foxy Stardust bobblehead right here from the Kickstarter. All my books and everything. So yeah, probably right there.
Okay. All right. Jonathan?
Those are, if you could see it, not really well. Those are my Nebula certificates. I would put a little shelf right there, and that's where it would go, right in the middle.
You would have to make sure to baby-proof it, just to be safe.
It has to be up high enough, but I've got my science fiction trading card, my Jonathan Brazee trading card. That one will come down, and the award would take the place of honor right in the middle.
Outstanding. All right, Rick, where are you going to put it?
Probably for right now, I'd put it on. We have like a trophy shelf where we have like the kids' trophies from high school and from soccer and swimming, and mine from when I used to compete in, triathlons and races and stuff. But probably put it there for now. But we're about to move, so in the new house, I will put a shelf on the wall. Actually, a couple of shelves for my books, and I'd have the trophy in the middle.
Oh man, you have a trophy like shelf for your whole family?
Yeah.
I got to get me one of those so I can put nothing on it.
You gotta get yourself a family.
Rich, you had your moment to shine. I love you, but my trophy is going and yours are just somewhere.
Sorry, son. T-ball goes.
All right, Chris. I understand you just built an entire third floor on your house just to put your office. So you're
That's
going
true.
fourth just for the trophy?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it'll go on the roof. No, it's not done yet, so it's gonna live in here until I can finally move everything upstairs. But we'll see, and then we'll see about putting it on the roof. Yeah. So,
Searchlight or spotlights, so all the neighbors can see.
yeah, exactly. And everyone else, what the hell is that? What's a dragon award?
But you're getting you're getting a new story built on it anyway. Just build like a giant version of it for the roof.
Well, he's got pictures on his Instagram, so if you follow the story's already pretty much added, so he would have to actually add another one for his trophy. But yeah, that's a good thing. Make your roof look like the Dragon Award.
Yeah, exactly. It'll go on top of the chimney.
It could be like the
It'll just
never
look
ending
like the
story.
house is on fire.
Well, could you get one of those inflatable little guys over there that just make you a Dragon Award? Got the fan blowing at your, right at your driveway.
I can hear the HOA complaining already.
All right. Well, then on that note, we're going to ask each of you, and you're going to tell us how we can find you. And as usual, dear listener, the links will be in the show notes, so check them out. We're going to start with you, Rick. Where can listeners find you?
I have rickpartlow.com as my website. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/dutyhonorplanet. Rick Partlow 66 on Twitter, which honestly, I rarely use it for anything. So pretty much Facebook is the best place to find me, or go on Amazon, look for my Amazon author page. I'm pretty much the only Rick Partlow on there.
All right, Jonathan, how can the listeners find you?
My website is jonathanbrazee.com. My Facebook is Jonathan Brazee. My other Facebook is Jonathan Brazee Author. There's a little theme going here. My Twitter is Jonathan Brazee, and that's enough. You can find me with those, and I will answer back.
Okay, Jeff.
jayandchaney.com. If you want to jump into the group and have a conversation, you can search for Jay and Chaney's Renegade Readers on Facebook. And I'm in there every day, and I respond to every post. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Lots of shenanigans happening there. I'm in that group.
Oh, dear God.
Half of this panel's in that group.
Yeah. All right, Chris, how can listeners find you?
So my website's solanempire.com, SOLLAN empire.com. But the best place these days actually is my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/suneaterbooks.
All right. That's a unique naming structure. It might have been simpler if you just used your name, but with a last name like yours, maybe Sun Eater's easier. I don't know.
Yes, it is. Well, everyone misses the U. So
Every time I hear your name, I think about Pulp Fiction, the guy named Tony Rocky Horror.
I think, yeah.
that's a new one.
It reminded me of Ralph Macchio.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty similar structurally Italian names. So
Yeah.
I still don't know what it means. My grandfather couldn't tell me.
Huh.
So,
All right. And yeah.
what was that?
Your grandfather needs to go back to school to learn what his name means, apparently. Or you can
Yeah.
just ignore him.
It was the last of our family who spoke Italian. So,
Yeah, that would help.
yeah.
So, all right. Well, you can find us, dear listener, on our website at anchor.fm/blasters and tech blades, anchor.fm/blasters-and-blades. You can find us on Twitter at twitter.com/SF_fantasy_show, Sierra Foxtrot _fantasy_show. You can email us at blastersandbladespodcast@gmail.com, blastersandbladespodcast@gmail.com. I promise we do answer it. So far, we've only gotten one letter from you listeners, and it was hate mail. So while I do approve,
Not.
no, seriously, somebody told me I should get rid of Elvis because it's unprofessional that he made noise. But it's okay. Elvis is staying. You can join us on Facebook on our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Blasters and Blades podcast, facebook.com/groups/Blasters and Blades podcast. You can support the show at www.buymeacoffee.com/author J.R. Handley, where you can make a one-time donation. Be sure to put in the comment section that it's for the podcast. I promise I will keep my co-host Nick Garber and Doc Cisca duly intoxicated. They will drink until their liver surrenders.
Never quit.
Never surrender. Or you can support us on a monthly basis over at anchor.fm/blasters-and-blades, where you can do it for as little as 99 cents a month or as much as your heart desires. Helps keeps the light on and keeps my hosts intoxicated because they like me better when they're drunk. Imagine that.
Yeah.
All right, Doc, bring it home.
Thank you for spending some of your precious time with us. Before we go, don't forget to go vote. Voting closes the Saturday of DragonCon, also known as September 4th at midnight, because the award is given out on the 5th. So keep track. I'm Cisca. This was J.R. Handley. We hid Nick away somewhere, but we are the Blasters and Blades podcast. We'll be back next time, same place, same love of nerd culture, cheesy jokes, things that go boom, and picking on JR, because why would we do anything else?
And pineapple does not belong on pizza. This is how we.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
And
Yes,
bacon.
it does.
Oh, we got the Italian hands. We win.
Yeah.